Alright, you're watching Cutlass King TV via MySpace, via my $500 camcorder. We're hanging out in the Cutlass King's garage. My name is Jason Humphrey. They call me the Cutlass King. What we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be showing you some diesel blocks. This is kind of like a rough shoot. I plan on making a better video than this. And we're going to walk through some of these diesel blocks here. Got a real treat for you today. I just picked up a 350D block. Pretty much fossils, hard to find. They weren't very reliable as diesel motors, had a lot of problems. Then they made the 350DX. So let's take a minute here. We're going to go through all this. Again, I don't have anyone help me shoot this. This is a rough draft. I'm just going to walk you through a lot of different things, kind of get you started. Here we go. Alright, so as you can see, we got our 350 diesel block. And this one happens to be a D block that I rescued out of a field. Special thanks to Joe and Augie Altamori. Joe especially for helping me tow this thing today. Get it back to my house safe. As I said, she's been sitting for quite a while. She pretty much was buried from the intake manifold to the heads. So she's been in the ground a while. Very heavy blocks, weigh as much as a big block. And again, this is an early D block, first generation diesel. Alright, we're going to go through some notes here. These diesel blocks, got two of them in the garage here. These are both DX rollers, hydraulic rollers. And this one here came out of a running car. I've done very little modification to kind of show you different things about this opposed to another one here. This is a remanufactured 350 diesel block. Ordered it from Texas. And pretty much it's been sitting for a while. I bought it in 2006. I took the heads off it, been taking measurements, different checks with it, things like that. And cylinder walls are starting to get a little rusted up, so I got to take care of that. The game plan is to get this thing all cleaned up, have everything masked off, and get it painted. Right now the block is painted black. I'm going to be painting it green, and I got some 350 Olds diesel paint. And I'm going to be helping y'all with that too. Got information on that. So let's get back to the game plan here. We got these diesel blocks. There's a lot of components that are similar to other gas motors, like 400s, 425s, 455 Oldsmobiles, and so on. So here's what we got. The block oil pan rails. You can go online and take a look. They made, for a certain amount of years, a NASCAR 350 block. It was an Olds block. It was made especially for NASCAR. And the difference is, you can see this is where the front fuel injector pump goes. The NASCAR block doesn't have this at all. It's completely sealed off. There's no provisions for any of the bolts. They have different lifter sizes. Again, I don't have a NASCAR block here. Maybe one of these days I'll be picking one up. That'd be a sweet thing. So, but anyways, like I was saying, I'm getting sidetracked. This is the first time I'm doing anything like this. We got the oil pan rails. We're going to take a look at them right now. And let's see, I'm hoping you can see that. As you can see, this is your oil pan, where the oil pan would go on the rail of the block. And there are supposedly different thicknesses. This is a thin oil pan rail. But I have seen pictures of them being extremely beefed up. And if you do got them beefed up, it's very possible it's a very special diesel block. It could have been used in drag racing, anything. They just had to make these things really fast. So I think there's a lot of different variations between the diesel blocks. And that's what I'm trying to represent and be shooting all this for you. To kind of give you a heads up of what's out there and what you're going to be looking for. So if you got it super wide, it's going to be better than this one or my other one. I don't have the D block taken apart, so I can't tell you how that's going to go. But again, and then I'm gonna cover D blocks, DX blocks, NASCAR blocks, and I do have information on GM Performance parts drag block. We got some things called F codes, and I'm going to show you what these F codes are about. Alright, you can see there we got an F3 casting. Supposedly, the lower the number, the better the block casting. So back in the day, like 68, 69 350s are going to be like F1s, F0s. This is an F3, and the other block over here this one here, I want to say, is an F2, and I'm going to try to get a better zoom here. You can't really see it. There we go. F2. So I would think this block is going to be more durable than this one over here, but that's just my opinion. I don't really know until I get going. And these F codes might even be nothing more than just casting numbers. I mean, it does mean something, but being that there's so many differences, you know, I'm still learning on that. But anyways, but let's go out here and check this D block, because again, we can see what's going on with this. See what kind of casting F code we got here. And I'm looking, and this one I actually really gotta clean it up, because I just can't tell. But all right, so we covered the F code here. We're gonna be talking about max RPMs of these conversions. From what I've been able to find out, these diesel blocks here, pretty much be able to, once you convert it to gas, probably be able to handle 4,000 to 5 grand RPM. 4 grand isn't a lot. I'm really pushing on the high side of 5 grand to 5,500. Oldsmobile blocks pretty much don't have an oil pressure problem, but they have a volume problem. They like to oil the heads more than anything. So all that oil sits up in the valve cover area and doesn't get back down to the crank and the bearings where it's needed to be. And so at 5250, that's pretty much where you're sucking Oldsmobile oil pan dry. It's rumored. I don't really know. But I push my Oldsmobile engines to 5,500. And I really never had much problem. If you run small block Chevy connecting rods and pistons with a stock diesel crank, should be able to turn damn near 7 grand from what I've been finding out on the internet. Myself, I don't know if I want to go that route. I'm pretty much an Oldsmobile purist, is what I've been called. I only believe in putting Oldsmobile parts in my Oldsmobiles, and I don't got no need for small block Chevy crap. Sorry about that, but I don't like Chevys. And so the block here, they got a lot of high nickel in them, high nickel content. Let's see, the horsepower of these blocks can sustain. NASCAR blocks can handle up to 1,200 horses max, and probably even more than that. These diesel blocks pretty much can handle 400 to 700 horsepower easy. So pretty much anything from 400 to 1,200 horsepower, I think this motor can handle. You got things like half-inch head bolts, which are better. Hydraulic roller lifters, kind of zoom in here. See the wheel on the end of there. The D block has got hydraulic, so there's no wheel on the end of the lifter. That's a first generation design type of thing. The mains on these motors are 3-inch mains. And it's different from like a 307 or a gas 350 where you got 2.5-inch mains and the last rear main is a 3-inch. These got 3-inch mains all the way across. So these motors are pretty much similar to like a 371, a 394 Oldsmobile back pre-64. And these motors are pretty much like a big block from 64 to 90. Well, they didn't really make them in 90, but anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is it's pretty much got a big block Oldsmobile crankshaft in it. 3-inch mains all the way across. It's similar to a 400, a 425, a 455. And so that's where we're at on that. And people say, you know, you probably ain't going to be able to spin a lot of RPM. But take a look at the 394. It made a lot of good power and had a good RPM level. So we talked about that, the mains, the motors. Okay, we got some rare diesel parts for performance use. Pretty cool here. We got the motor mount we're looking at, and if you look, we got a bolt to the right. We got one off to the side of the motor mount. We got one on this side and one on the other side there, and so we got 2 on each side. And I've never seen these on gas motors, but it's like a torque strap. It's a steel bar that connects to this motor mount, and I think that's really going to be really good for torsional strength, just help overall. And let's see what else we're going to talk about. Oh yeah, we got some flywheels and harmonic balancers and stuff like that. Let's get into that. Going into my parts room here, you can see it's kind of a mess. Had a lot of people take tools and not put them back and steal from me. Not too happy about that, but I'm taking care of that problem. So we've got a pool table here full of engine parts. Brand new performance stuff. Some stuff's old school. Some of these performance things I was thinking of is the 350 diesel block has got a special balancer it uses. And I'm going to be going through all this. You know, like I said, this is a rough shoot. Going to be comparing gas harmonic balancers to 350 diesel harmonic balancers. Going to be comparing starters and flywheels. And this all is very important because you can't mix and match any of that stuff. But what we got here is we got the crankshaft pulley. It's for a 350 diesel block. And it's kind of got like it's got some tape on it. I was going to paint this and clean it up. But it's an elastic pulley. It's got a big rubber insert, which I think can handle a lot of vibration and flex. I don't really know how well it will work on a gas motor, but one of these days we're going to find out. But what we're going to do on this conversion is we're going to be using a gas flywheel, a gas harmonic balancer, and a gas starter. And I'm going to be giving you reasons for all that, and as well as a gas timing cover. Once you start interchanging things, you're going to have a problem. So I've done all the research for you. The hardest thing about the conversion is the timing chain area itself. So we'll go back out. We're going to run through some more block specs here. Also, there are, with the diesel block motors, there are different size wrist pins. During the years, we've got from 1978 to 1982, which is the D block. The wrist pin size was 1.050. From 1983 to 85, which would be a DX, we got 1.011. And as well, I got more information on wrist pins. For 78 to 1985, we got 1.011 again. So there are differences with the wrist pins. I think it's better to have the bigger wrist pin. I don't know what I've got going on yet, but I'm going to look into it. Again, this motor here you're looking at is a remanufactured diesel block from Texas. This one here came out of a running car, and I haven't done very much modification to anything just because I want to show you the way you're going to have to be moving things around. And we got a D block that is picked up here. And we got Susie Supreme, my 86 Cutlass Supreme Brougham. I've owned it since I was 16. My parents bought it for me. I worked hard to pay them back. Originally I wanted a Monte Carlo SS, but never got one. And just kind of let the Oldsmobile eat my brain up. And this is, you know, hooked on Oldsmobiles. So I'm going to take a look here. I know I'm getting sidetracked. I just like to show everybody everything I got. You know I'm an Oldsmobile man, and this is how I roll. Hot woman and Oldsmobiles. And you got to let them know what you got under the hood. We got it Rocket 8 equipped. We got some cool things like different tail lights from a different year Cutlass. These are probably before 86. I have pinstriped it silver. Used to be red. Got some different rims. These are pretty rare. Usually you find these gold, but these were silver. And let's see here. We got my hood louvers. It's off a 68 Nova, 68 Camaro. I thought it would go pretty good with my grill. And I got some thin valve covers too. That's going to look pretty tight under the hood. So it's all going to tie together. I like to think of myself as a man with vision. I can see things the way they need to be, and I make it work, make it happen. All right. So enough of my car. I know I got sidetracked. We're supposed to be talking about motor stuff. In doing this conversion, you're going to have a bearing to tackle here. We're going to take a look at it. This is where your front injector pump went. And as you can see, there's a bearing with a hole in it. This is kind of a bad thing. You don't want that hole to be there. It was fine when it was a diesel, but as it being a gas conversion, what we're going to have to do is you're going to have to take the bearing out and turn it. So instead of the hole being at 6 o'clock, it's going to be at 12 o'clock. It's going to go to the top. The bearing is springy. It's a flexible kind of a bearing. It's grooved, I guess we can say. So you're going to have to make sure that the groove in the bearing doesn't interfere with the oil hole as well. And you can take some green Loctite and Loctite it in. You don't necessarily have to Loctite it in if you ever want to convert it back to a diesel motor. I don't think you'd want to, though. I think you're going to be happy with the gas performance conversion here. But Loctite it in place. That's what I would recommend. Green Loctite or any flavor or color you'd want there. Don't be eating the shit. So we talked about the bushing. Now on this motor here, this new remanufactured one, I've already spun the bearing. I got a timing cover on, so I'm doing some mock-up, and I'm not going to take it off today. But this is an optional thing. On the other side here, I took a freeze plug and drove it in. And the reason I did that is because I want to control my oil. I don't want The oil just running everywhere it can possibly go. A gas 350 didn't have any of this provisions for the injector drive pump, so you don't got to worry about that. But I just want to take a little bit extra precaution. In my reading, nobody has done this freeze plug, just driving it in there, but I don't see it to hurt nothing. And I installed it with some green Loctite because I don't want it popping out. And it fit really very good. To install it, I just found a socket, and I took the socket, put it inside the freeze plug, made sure I had a little bit of slop, and I drove it in place. Made sure everything was good and cleaned. Cleaned it with alcohol first. So that's what we got to do with that part. You're going to get to a point, and we're going to go into the timing cover area. This is quite unique here. We got our timing cover area. You see, I still got the camshaft in there, and I'm going to get this set up at a different date. But this setup here was pretty much like a gear drive, where this diesel block over here had a thrust cover, like similar to like a roller cam 307. The thrust cover held the camshaft in place with the timing gear, and there was no way for it to come out. And when you do these conversions, you can. What I'm going to do is, the Mandela way is to use a gas timing chain. I don't want to do that. I want to use a diesel timing chain. That way you don't got to use any special shims. And again, this is a rough shoot. I got to go in all this detail on what you got to do. It's not hard. This conversion is very simple. There's just different ways of doing it, and I'm going to label all three. But one way you can do it is you can leave all your diesel hardware on there. What you're going to do is you're going to take the diesel cam out. You're going to put a gas camshaft in. It's either going to be a hydraulic roller or hydraulic. I'm going to be using a 350 diesel timing chain. To do so, I'm going to have to use a 350 diesel cover. Or no, that's not even right. That's not even right. Damn, there's three ways of doing it, and I got to look into it a little bit more for you. I guess what it is, when I say components, you're going to have to either stick with a diesel harmonic balancer, a flywheel, and a starter, and a timing cover. Otherwise, if you're going to go the gas route, you can use a gas balancer, a flywheel, and a starter. And the reason for that is the weight of the flywheel is different, and it's a lot smaller, and the diesel starter is a high amp, so it's made to turn over that small flywheel. It's not going to work on a gas one. So you can't really mix and match your components. You're going to have issues getting the motor to crank over and balancing issues. And again, the timing cover, I'm having a little bit of issue with it. This is an aftermarket one over there. It's by Rocket Racing. The quality is right on. It's for an electric water pump. I didn't specify what I was doing with it. I got to have some material machined off the back of the cover, and it's got to be drilled and tapped for a manual water pump. So that's one project I'm fighting there. As components you're going to be using for the diesel conversion, you're going to be using a gas camshaft here. You're going to be using a timing cover, and again they vary. You're either going to be using a gas or a diesel one. I've got a custom one, so I'm going to be going through all three. We got harmonic balancers. You got two choices on the harmonic balancers, so I'm going to be going through those. You're going to be installing a gas fuel pump, and you're going to be installing some gasoline heads. You can pretty much use your 5A 307 head, your 6A, or your 7s. You're going to have extremely high compression, somewhere around, I believe, 11 to 2. You're going to have small valves, so they're not really going to flow very good. The recommended head to use is the 77 to 79 403 Oldsmobile head. It's got half-inch head bolts. It's a direct replacement for the diesel head. And you can be using the 350 gas, and you're going to be using that from years 77 to 80. If you have cylinder heads that replace more than 70 cc's, it's going to have too much compression to run on the street. You're probably going to be having to use some race gas. We're going to go into gas, like octane levels to be using. Doing the conversion, 87 octane is probably going to be bad. It's probably going to spark knock pretty bad. And I'm going to show you the reason why in a minute. 93 octane should ping a little bit from the research I've read. 100 octane will make this thing run like it's got 400 horses, from what I'm told. What we got here is these pistons are very special. They're dome pistons. They're not flat. They're domed. So that's going to give you a lot of compression. So you're going to be limited to your head gasket choices and your heads. You could run big block heads on it, but again, you're going to have to modify some things. Again, up here, one thing we're going to have to modify is the dowel pins. What I'm going to show you is you got your dowel pin. If you look to the left of the piston there, you see the dowel pin sticking up. I'm going to point to it. Alright, I got my finger on it there. You're going to take this dowel pin and you're going to move it up to this location. This other dowel pin over here is just fine where it's at. There's no need to do anything. You don't got to take and drill your head for this dowel pin. Just simply move it. Over here you can see on this remanufactured diesel block, I have already taken out the dowel pin, and it would have gone right there. There's one here. You can see that it's not in the location, but it's going to be going up right there for the conversion. So that's what you do for your dowel pins. Now you're going to see I still got gasket material on my head. I'm going to be removing that, and you're going to put the heads on bare. Take a filler gauge and try to put a 2000s to 5000s in there. I've read both. You can do 2000s or 5000s. If you do have an issue, you're going to have to take and grind the dowel pins down a little bit. What that means is when you go to put your gasket on, torque everything down, the heads might not seat the block very well. So that's one issue you're going to have to check. You're not going to want to get this thing all together and put some coolant in it and find it leaking everywhere. It's going to really piss your day, piss you off, ruin your day. Alright, so we covered that. Again, I keep repeating, I'm getting sidetracked, I'm jogging through a lot of things. I've never done anything like this. But I'm going to be trying to make this a lot better and have better notes and be more organized with the way this is going. And again, I got to get this block cleaned. It's black right now. I got to spray it a light green to hide that black, and then I've learned you can take some Detroit diesel Alpine green and mix some Pontiac engine paint and spray it pretty much about the same time, or give it some light coats, and it'll almost match the 350 diesel metallic engine paint. And I'm going to show you a picture of what this rare paint is I'm looking for. This here, it's kind of like a slate gray metallic, but it's not. It's almost like a bluish green. That's what we're looking for, and I've got 2 cans available, and that's pretty much the last of it in the United States. I don't got anything else, so I was lucky to find that. We're gonna go back to my book, my notes. Again, I'm not gonna be able to read this book, from page to page. It's copyright issues. I'm just gonna be taking some of the notes and building this up to a tech article here. But let's see here, we covered a lot so far. You might have a problem with your water passages when it comes to your head gaskets. Really, for the conversion, if you got 350 head gaskets, you're supposed to use 350 head gaskets for that year. And if you got 403s, you're supposed to be using 403 head gaskets. I myself am going to be hopefully hooking a turbocharger up to this. It's going to be about 9-to-1 compression. Doing the conversion, if you use 403 heads, you're going to be around 8.8 to 1. If you use 350 heads, you're going to be around 9.5 to 1. If you decide to mess with your gaskets, go with thinner gasket, you're going to raise compression. So, and again, you could use the 307 head. I don't think you're going to like the way it performs. It's going to have a lot of high compression, but the valve size just isn't going to be there to flow anything. So, again, I'm kind of losing track, but this is a first time shoot. I'm got a lot going on. Like I said, I've been working a lot of hours. Here we got an exhaust manifold that I've been mocking up here. As you can see, I took the back and I cut it off. It was kind of like a ram's horn that came down. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hooking the crossover up from the other side to this side. And we're going to be bolting the turbocharger directly to the exhaust manifold. And I haven't really determined the size. I think like an S300. An S400 seems like it's going to do the job, but the flange is a little bit big. So I'm going to be doing more research on that. I've got a lot of projects going on. For instance, we're going to look at these valve covers. Really sweet, like I said. These are, got them covered up here to keep it nice. These are some Offenhausers. And what they're for is they're for like old school Oldsmobile engines, like 330s, 425s, 400s. And they got 10-bolt valve covers. And the 403 heads only have 5. So my options were to try to take a cut plug and install it in the holes. Tap the valve cover out, install dummy bolts that don't function just to block the oil passages off. But lucky me, I didn't give up, and I went down to Fastenal, ordered some 5/16 oversized dowel pins. Gonna take one out here, about an inch long, 5/16 oversized. Got a little bit of slop, but that's okay because I'm gonna be installing some black RTV. And I lucked out. I thought I was going to have a problem with oil seeping out, but these heads, the valve cover gasket seals off the oil passage for the hole. So I shouldn't have a problem with leaks. For extra security, I am putting dowel pins in with RTV. And I thought I was going to have a problem because 307 heads they're a little bit different valve cover. Opposed to being flat where the valve cover goes, they're kind of rounded and bowl-nosed. And it did appear that I was going to have a problem. But again, I'm not using those heads. I just had to step back and take a look at the bigger picture. And you know, sometimes when you're working on things that are custom and you get frustrated, it's one of those things you got to do. You got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of what you got going on. There's always a way to get around something or figure it out. It doesn't help being frustrated, cussing, and swearing. It ain't going to get nothing done. Just, you know, go get a can of pop. Maybe you want a beer. I myself don't drink anymore. But, you know, I'm always down for a Pib or a Pepsi. Cigarette never hurts either. So, you know, just take some time to mellow out. Never hurts to have a good array of tech manuals. As you can see here, this picture is kind of classified. I'm not going to say where I work, but we got a picture here of a 350 Olds diesel valve cover. It's that metallic blue color. And what we got below it is a Beldor electric motor. And the paint is pretty much a dead-on color match. The motor itself isn't faded, but the paint on the valve cover is just from heat and oil and stuff. I did my best to clean it and wax it and get it to shine as much as I could. I took it into my work. I got permission from one of my lead man to take a picture. They documented the picture. So I'm going to be putting that online. Again, I'm not going to post where I work. We got no picture of what I make, what we do there. It's just a motor and a valve cover for picture clarification. And again, I believe I got the last 2 cans in the whole United States of the Beldor electric motor color. But I'm going to do my best to get a paint code for it. And if not, help you mix some Krylon together and get you a color very similar to this. So that's pretty much what I've got. I probably have missed out on a couple things. We'll go take a look at my car, what's going on with it, what I plan to do. I've got a W30 hood that's going to be going on. And we're going to be putting the louvers right back up on top. It's going to look pretty damn mean. I'm going to show you a picture right now of what the hood looks like. Take a look. This is a 1984 Hurst Olds. And that's the hood that's going to be going on this. Right now the hood doesn't have the ram air slots cut out. It doesn't have an air pan. The air pan is used for the air cleaner. I got a 360-degree open top K&N chrome that's going to be going on there. So I will be taking ram air off my hood. And under my bumpers, you can see I got my ram air hoses ducted under my bumpers. This was a stock plastic piece that ducted air in that went up by the radiator. But I'm not getting my air there anymore, and I went out to the junkyard and picked up another one. So we got air hoses running up front to my air cleaner, and it does make a big difference, especially when it's cool out. Go ahead and crack the throttle wide open, and you know it's making a difference. This here is a 307 VIN code Y engine. It's a roller motor. It's got a hydraulic roller camshaft. I'm not running the computer anymore, so I got a different carburetor that I rebuilt. Runs flawlessly. I compliment myself on it. I did a pretty good job. But again, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to sit down and figure it out. And I stuck with it. And it didn't happen overnight. This thing runs really good. Going to start her up here in a minute for you too. That'd be really nice so you can hear her run. Got some stainless steel brake lines all the way around. It's got a different distributor, like I said, different carb, no computer, so I'm able to pull more advance out of my motor. It's pretty mean sounding. Runs a 1709. That's the quickest I've been able to get it to run. Again, it's got a 200C transmission, not very good for performance. Does the job. It ain't going to hold up to a lot of power with these diesel blocks. I'm sure I'm going to fry them. Got a 350C that will be going in place. Got to get that rebuilt. Let's see, what else did we have going here? I've already talked to you about the pinstriping. We got my interior here, which is pretty custom. I'm going to show you that. For my exhaust, I'm running 2 1/4 Dynamax with dumps. So pretty much the only mods to this motor is a different carb, a distributor. I've got things like a trans temp gauge, external trans cooler. You can see I've done some custom work to my dash, like I got rid of my idiot lights and put my trans temp gauge in there. Got to have a nice tachometer to see what your motor's doing. Got to know when to shift that baby just right. And we got my gauges. We got volts. We got oil pressure and water. I don't trust idiot lights. They don't work, you know. By the time you've already done your damage, it's too late. Light already came on, too late. So we got some custom here because she is a custom cruiser. Oh yeah, my girl Susie Supreme. Now I call her Susie Supreme. To everyone else, you can just call her Black Sunshine. That works, you know, for me. But what we got here is I got this idea off of Buick. I took a horn, like I guess you could say a clear horn cover, and it was off a different Cutlass. And what I did is I decided to put it in my dash and put a red light behind it. Got this idea from a guy who owned a Buick, and there was like a piece of plastic that went across the dash there, and it said like Buick Limited or something, and it lit up, and it was pretty unique. So I just decided to take that idea and go with it. Again, when it comes to me, I'm a hot rodder. When it comes to hot rod and stuff, I believe in using other parts. But when it comes to motor stuff, you got to keep it all Oldsmobile. So, you know, again, we got the hood louvers up there. That's for a Camaro or a Nova. I'm down with it because it looks good, you know. Ain't going to hurt the motor any. And really, a motor, all it is a vacuum. It doesn't know what kind of engine it is. It just wants you to get the air in there as quick as you can and get it out, and it'll make more power for you. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start this bad boy up, my girl, and see what she does. Alright, listen to that. She started on the second try. She's going to probably be idling here about $2 grand. That's my fast idle. Usually she idles about 1100. We're going to get out and let you hear her. And she sounds pretty damn mean, but she's in my garage. She's a little bit loud as well. So we're going to take it and we're going to let her warm up. I'm going to kick it down. You can hear her idle. Alright, bring her down a little bit. Just warming up. One other mod I got is I got a 160-degree thermostat. I like to make my Oldsmobile run a little bit on the cooler side. You get in traffic, I like to heat up a little bit. So we're going to let her just kind of warm up here. I don't like to rush her. She's kicking down slowly. That's about what she sounds like going down the road about 65. There we go. About 1,000. I usually like, you know, I like my motor running in time. 20 degrees bottom, top, dead center. 1200, 1100 RPM. I'm gonna get out here, let you hear from an idle. we're gonna put this camera under the car here, get a good sound over it, see what's going on with my exhaust. Gotta love those dumps, makes a big difference. Alright, we're gonna shut her down. I'm gonna set my camera up here. Alright, here we are. Might have been a little bit loud for you. Hope you had your earplugs in. Alright, so again, you know, I've gone through a lot today. I think this is a pretty good first shoot. Again, things are a little sketchy. I know I covered a lot of things. I got to go into more detail. You know, there's a lot of component issues that I got to describe to you in detail. That way you ain't going to screw nothing up. Again, I'm not reliable for your build. I just trying to help you not turn these things into boat anchors, because you know, you can make some pretty serious power with them. One thing you can do is you can take a 425 Olds big block crankshaft and have some block work done and make a 450 cubic inch stroker. So you know, pull up, you got your gutless cutlass, what people like to call them. Oh yeah, it's just got a little 307, but really you got a 350 diesel block converted to gas, and you've got 550 cubic inches. They're probably going to lose. So you know, got to do some things like gear changes and transmission. You know, get a beefed up transmission. But that's what I'm working with. You know, getting a little tired of playing with these 307s. You can only make so much power out of them. You know, they ain't an overall performance motor, but I tell you what, they're sure a damn hard workhorse motor. I'll tell you that. I beat the piss out of this one, and you know, I've tuned as much power out as I can by just tricks I've known over the years. So that's where we're at with that. Again, you know, we got these diesel blocks. Going to be working on them. I'm working a lot of overtime. So, you know, when time permits, like these weekends and I'm free, gonna be down here in the garage. You know, I got a lot of cleaning to do, as you can see. My tools, you know, I got to get those in shape. But really, the game plan is to, I guess my current game plan is to get this timing cover took into a machine shop and get that all figured out. Make sure everything's going to be kosher. You know, get my gas parts with my gas parts, my diesel parts with my diesel parts. Show you what's going on with that. Going to be filming the build step by step. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit cleaner. I'm going to have things laid out. Not going to have so much problem jumping around, me getting sidetracked, going to this to that. I guess that's about it. So this is today's shoot. And I appreciate you all joining me and taking the time to watch this video. And watching Cutlass King TV with the Cutlass King via MySpace, via my $500 video camcorder. And don't worry, OLDSMOBILers, because I'll be leaving the light on for you. You know, you ain't in this alone. Pretty much dedicated my life to keeping Cutlasses alive. Learn as much as I can about the OLDSMOBILE motor. Hey, it makes me happy, you know. It's just what I do. I go with what I know. So, other than that, I'm good at fishing and banging chicks. Well, you guys have a good day. Later.